guys, welcome back to the channel. It's still just a couple of days from Valentine's Day, and I thought we could have a little bit more fun with a little Valentine's Day crafting. Yesterday I went and I cut some wild grapevine. It grows wild and natural here on most of our fence lines. And usually I like to cut it in the fall and save it for the winter. But I was looking for something fun to do, and I went out and I cut some yesterday. And it's still pretty supple. We've had an awful lot of rain. But if you buy a grapevine from the store or online, when you get it, it'll probably be really dry. But the best thing to do if you're going to make a wreath out of it is to go ahead and soak it in a big tub overnight. Just make sure it's covered in water and leave it overnight, and it'll make it supple enough to use the next day. Now, before you start using it, you want to knock off the excess moisture with a towel. But I have made a grand mess of my sewing room, so let's get to it. Okay, the quickest, easiest way to make a heart is to make a big circle, and at one side you want to, let's see where that's cracked. You want to pull it and crack it to a point, but don't break it completely, just crack it. And then do the same thing on the top. And I used some floral wire, and I bound the top to the bottom. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there's one single piece of wire holding it in that shape. Now, usually if you do it this way, you're probably going to want to leave that wire there. But that's fine in this case because I have a bunch of flowers and I wanted to put flowers on it. But it would also give you something to tie the flowers to in the center. But that's just a really quick way. Really quick, really easy. But if you notice on my grapevine, I leave all these little cute curly cues. Now those are good tendrils that they grow to wrap around anything they want to grow up, around, or across, which usually is our fences. But that's just one quick, easy way. And like I said, it gives you something to bind your other decorations to. So we'll set these aside for right now. Now I'll show you what else I've got. Change the camera angle here a little bit. Now I went ahead and I got this one started a little bit because I didn't want to end up with another really long video. So I went ahead and got it started. But what I did is I took a big piece of board, and I've got 4 of these nails. Now those are molding and trim nails. And let's see about how big they are. It doesn't really say on the package, but they look to be about 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 inches. And what I did was I put 4 nails in the board. I put one here for the center, and I put one at each top, and I put one down here at the bottom. And it's really easy. You just work around it until you get it the size you want. And at the very bottom down here, the thick bottom end piece, I tied it with the floral wire, and I left a big long piece of it sticking out in case I wanted to use it more later. But got quite a bit more here. It's really easy to do. You just work it around. Now, when you're working with grapevine, it's going to have a lot of little extra pieces and stuff on it, and you can trim those off if you don't want them on there, but I tend to leave them on. But it's really simple. You just keep working it around. And at any point, if you need a piece to hold still, that's what this extra piece of wire down here is for. I'm just going to loop that down and around that nail just to hold it. And as you work it around, you can work it down into the other pieces to wrap it and get it to hold on to itself. And then when you get to an end, just weave it in. Find a better place to weave that one in. Alright, get that hooked down under there. And now I'm going to go through the pieces that I have cut, and I'm going to find one that I can go around it and bind it together. So give me just a minute to find that piece, and I'll be right back. Okay, now I've got this big long piece, and I'm going to start working to wrap it. This is where having one that's not completely dried out comes in handy. And I'm going to start to work that through there, just to wrap it and bind it. Now we've got one wrapped around. Change the camera angle here a little bit. But all I did was ran a piece around it just to help twist it together. Okay. Just like most things that I like to do when I'm crafting, I like to have something that I can change and make my own. You don't have to make one this size. You can make a giant one. Just cut a big enough piece of wood, and if you want a taller or thicker one, just get longer nails. But the basics of it are still the same. And just keep going around it until you get it as big as you want. Now, if you have to soak your grapevine and get it nice and supple, then it'll help to leave this on the board for a day or two. Let it get completely dried out. Put it in a spot where it won't get any wetter. Just a nice, dry, warm spot. And then you can decorate it from there with anything that you want on it. And while I was doing all the prep work for this morning, I also went around and I took some pictures of some wreaths that I've made in the past. I've got some for Halloween and just some general purpose ones. You can shape grapevine to be any shape that you want. And in particular, I have a flower that I did too, and I've done a pumpkin. But there's really nothing to it. It's one of those things that's really, really easy. And then you can do whatever you want to it. You can wrap ribbons around it or put a big ribbon in the center. You can put flowers or all kinds of ornaments on them. And I think that's why I enjoy making them so much, because it's one of those things that you can really just make your own. But let me get out of here, and I'm going to let this one sit for a while because it's still a little wet. It's still pretty supple. So I'll probably let this one dry for a day or two. And you can see on the back of my board, I've done other hearts too. But that's really all there is to it, and it's a whole lot of fun, and I enjoy it. But we're going to let this one dry out, and I'll get those pictures brought up and show you how much fun you can have. Okay, that's all that I've got for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like always, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to ring that little bell. It'll let you know when we have new videos out. And I had a whole lot of fun today in the craft room, and I'm glad you came along with me. And as always, love you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.